do you want to get open, sweetie? Page 227. Okay. So, actually, that's not where we're going to start, but it's fine. I want to remind you, so we're actually starting on page 281. I apologize, but I'm just going to kind of talk about what we did yesterday to remind you. So, again, I know I repeat myself a lot. Just remember, if you're not here, you must get caught up on campus. Remember, you turn in on Monday everything you did from the week before, and Monday is when your EDIAs due, EDIA, whatever you want to call it. I still don't know what the right name is. And I check your notes, I check your homework, and I look for work that's supposed to be shown. Okay, so just copying my keys is not going to give you credit. So we're getting towards the end of the week. Any extra time you have, use it to get caught up and ask for help on anything you need help with. Okay. So yesterday we learned how to do compound inequalities, and we learned that there were two types, ands and ors. Okay. Ands could be written two different ways. This was one of them, where it's all jumbled up together. There's another one of these in your homework today, and you need to remember how to separate it into two. And remember, you're using that middle h minus 2 twice. So I rewrote it over here as h minus 2 is less than 1, and then it's the word and then you cover up this side, and it's negative 8 is less than or equal to h minus 2. You break it into two separate problems, solve, graph on the same number line, and what we learned yesterday is that and problems should be connected in the middle, okay? And we'll talk about what happens when they don't in just a second. So just recapping yesterday. All right, then we learned how to do or problems. Or problems will always be written with the word or in between. You never have to break them apart. Solve them as two, again, separate inequalities. And when you graph, oops, that's not the first or problem we did, is it? When you graph an or problem, 99% of the time they go in two different directions, okay? So ands go together, ors go separate. Most of the time, okay? Sometimes ors will overlap, like this one, or they could go towards each other. There's no real rule about the ors, but most of the time they go out in two different directions, okay? When they don't, let me come back to that. So the and problems, like I said, these are more strict. You have to have them meet in the middle. It has to happen like that. If it doesn't, like this one we did yesterday, an and problem given to us already separated. Remember, ands can be written like this or all jumbled together like the first example. We still solve them separately, but if they end up going in two different directions, you would say no solution, okay? If an and problem looks like an or problem when you graph it, you would say no solution, okay? Really, really important. So that was yesterday. And we're going to practice those more in the homework today. So you get to do more of those today. But let's learn the new stuff, and you'll be happy to know that the new stuff is so easy that, like, honestly, first period didn't believe me that that was it. They kept waiting for, like, something else to happen. Like, now what? And I'm like, no, that's really it. So these are what I like to call freebies. If you just learn how to do them with me right now, just pay attention. You'll see they take literally seconds to do. Seconds, you don't need a calculator or anything, okay? So first one we're going to do, example 5, write a compound inequality that describes the graph. So you're given the graph, you have to write what that is saying, okay? As we learned, we are going to say that if the 2 points are connected in the middle, this is an and problem. And we're going to write our and solution. We're going to write this as one jumbled up answer, kind of like example 1, not separated, but all together. And this is super, super easy. Watch. All you have to do is take the 2 endpoints, right? We have -2 and 4. And you keep them in order from least to greatest. You never change the order. Pick a variable, doesn't matter which one, and put it in the middle. That's how you start every single time. The rest of it's really, really simple too. You always, 100% of the time, your inequality symbols will both point to the left. I'll explain better why in a second. So what we're saying here is x is greater than, not equal to, that's why I didn't put the line there, negative 2, right? That's how you would read that. X is greater than negative 2, which makes sense. All the numbers that are greater than negative 2 are to the right of it, which is what's shaded, and less than or equal to 4. Why the equal sign? Because it's a closed circle. Why no equal sign? Because it's an open circle. And that's it. So look at what it says. X is less than or equal to 4. That's true. All the numbers to the left of 4 are less than 4. And greater than negative 2. That's it. That's the answer. You're done. Okay? Let's do another one on the next page. Just go through the same exact steps, guys. So I have 7 and 9. Didn't even change the order. Kind of made it small here. Put any variable you like in the middle. Arrows, inequality symbols, always point to the left, and you just decide, is it going to have an equal to sign under it or not? So with the 7, no equal to sign. With the 9, we have an equal to sign. That's the answer. X is less than or equal to 9. X is greater than 7. That's all the numbers in between. Less than 9, greater than 7. Okay, so that's how we do ands. We know it's an and by the way the graph looks. That's how we do the answer every single time. Okay, let's do or. Not any harder, okay? So we have to write whatever this is. Pick your letter. Again, it doesn't matter. You know me, I just use X. Let's switch up the color. X. And if the arrow's going to the left, what direction will my inequality symbol go? Left or right? Left, right? It's going this way, so will my symbol. Am I going to put an equal to sign under that symbol? Yes. It's a closed circle. That's how we know. And it's an or because they're going in 2 different directions, so you know to write the word or. And we'll do this again for this one. X. Oh, I forgot to put the number. 8. X is less than or equal to 8. Sorry, I forgot to put the 8. So you know we're going to use whatever letter you want. We're on a 12. Okay, so I'm going to put a symbol in between the 12 and the X. My arrow is pointing this way. So my inequality symbol points the same direction. Remember, you can trust that. If X is on the left-hand side, which we always want it to be, the inequality symbol goes the same direction as your arrow. Do I put a line under my greater than sign? Nope, because it's an open circle. That's the answer. There's nothing else to do. All right? You guys try this one right here. Try this one. It's multiple choice. Gavin, you trying this one? Please, thank you. So guys, is this an and or an or? And or. Or. 2 different directions, we know it's an or. So smart test taking, multiple choice, we can get rid of the one that says the word and. We can get rid of the one that's got the jumbled up one. Plus, it's written incorrectly. I already told you that when you write your solution like this for an and problem, the inequality symbols will always point to the left. Both of them, 100% of the time. So that's not even written correctly. So smart test taking is looking at what you're offered and maybe getting rid of some 1, 2, maybe even 3 that you know it can't be. And that way you could give yourself a fighting chance, but if you had to guess. But we're not going to guess. We can do this one actually, okay? So we have X is to the left would be less than, it's colored in, equal to negative 1. right? Or x is 1 to the right, greater than or equal to 1. So that would be A. Did we get it right? Yeah. Pretty simple, right? Hopefully we get lots of those on our test next Wednesday, so we can make sure we do well on those. So let's look at what the homework is, because that's the end of the notes. All right, so page 284. Page 284 is your 5.3 day 2. Now listen, guys, you were encouraged yesterday to write on a separate sheet of paper when you did these. You can continue on that same sheet of paper when you do these down here, because I'm about to tell you have to do some like we did yesterday. If you were trying to squeeze all the work and the graph and the answer in here, I tried to help some of you yesterday that were like squeezing. I couldn't see it. So if you want to start on a fresh sheet of paper, that's fine. Write on the same paper as yesterday. Just label it so that I know when I grade it where your work is, okay? There is no work to show for 19 through 26. The ones you're going to have to show for are the 27 through 32. 27 through 32 are the ones we did yesterday, okay? These take seconds to do. I'm going to get you started. The most of your time and work will be spent on doing the ones from yesterday, okay? Just more practice. So let's look at 19 together. This is an and problem. See how it's in between those 2 points? This is when you are going to write it all as one jumbled up answer. Just start with your endpoints, -3 and 3. You don't even change the order. Pick whatever letter you want to put in between. Remember that your symbols always go to the left with these. And then you just have to decide, do you put an equal sign under it or not? So on the -3, nope. On the 3, yep. Done. So 20, another and, so I'm going to write it the same way. Put your numbers, pick your letter, arrows go to the left, inequality symbols go to the left, decide if it should have an equal sign under it. What about the 1? Yes or no? Yep. Put Stolly. On the 4, are we going to have it? Yeah, because it's filled in. Okay, that's it. I'll do 1 or with you, and then I'll let you work. So or, because it's going in 2 different directions. So pick your letter. We know we're going to be doing something with -2. Arrows going to the left. So should mine. Am I going to put a line under that? Nope. Open circle. X and 1 for my next one. Arrows going to the right. Do I put a line under this one? Yes, because it's a closed-in circle. That's it. Okay? So I'm going to put the key up for these. You can copy the key, and I won't know, because there's no work to show. Just do them, guys, and use the key to check. When you get down here, you must show your work, though, for 27 through 32. And I would advise you to do it on a separate sheet of paper so you have room, especially if you want me to help you. I'll probably jump in on number 27 with you guys in a minute. Just make sure you can get these done first. You, right? That's cool. I just thought she was like.
Oh, no, you're good.
it, click it in. 5, click in. 5, click in. Feel free to go on to number 27, but I am going to do 27 with you guys in a minute just to remind you how to do it.
Yep, sorry, it took a while.
Okay, so I totally see why you said that. Now look at number 23 and look what you wrote on your paper. That's a different order than I would have written my answers to. It doesn't matter the order, as long as the symbols are going the right way. I 100% would have written x is less than or equal to 0 first, right? They use b, don't let that upset you. But it's still, this goes with this, okay? And before, between, and then the 3 go that way. So don't let someone like that think you did it wrong. Check it carefully. Because remember, when you take these module tests, a lot of them are multiple choice. And that could happen. And you don't want to think, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I'll just guess. Because the answer was there. Mm-hmm. All right, let me do 27 with you, and then if anybody still had trouble with any of these, I'll be walking around again, and I can come help you, okay? So let me just remind you guys how to do these problems. So, of course, we're going to try to find some other space to write it. I would need a separate sheet of paper, but as long as I can see all your work and stuff. Okay, so remember, ands can be written like this, and we're just solving. Guys, this is a one-step equation. One single step. I have to get f by itself, so I would subtract 6 from both sides. 4 minus 6 in my calculator gets me -2 is less than f. And you don't flip your inequality symbol within the problem. Some people think, oh, I see a negative number, I have to flip. Remember, you only flip your inequality symbol if you multiply or divide by a negative number. We didn't multiply and divide at all, right? But that last step, you always want to leave your answer with the F or X or B, whatever letter, on the left-hand side. This is when you have to flip it like a pancake, okay? So F goes on this side, -2 goes on that side. And see how the alligator is eating the F in the green? He still has to eat the F, okay? So that's what I mean when I say flip it like a pancake. Everything flips, okay? That's just a cleanup step, just to make graphing easier in a second. And one step over here, subtract 6, F is less than -1. I didn't have to flip anything. I don't have to clean up. This is the answer. Okay? Now we put it on a graph. So here's 0, -1, -2. Right? That's as good as our number line has to be. These both happen to be open circles. Right? Sometimes they're different. This one, they're the same. Open circle, open circle. We want the numbers greater than -2, so that's to the right, less than -1, that's to the left, that's right in between. So 29, when you get to it, it's just like example 1 that we did yesterday, where you have to rewrite this into 2 and statements. I'm going to put the key up, but remember the work is not on the key. You must show the work.